Hey nerds. I've just been down swimming. I try to implement this new habit in my life. I'm trying to get my life more in order, because it's pretty chaotic. And one of the things that I implemented is swimming every day. So for the last 5 days, I've been in the water every day. Today I was swimming actually. It's cold outside. It's 18 degrees. The water was a little bit warmer. I don't know what it was, 21, maybe 20 degrees, just a little bit. It was cold, and I swam out too far because I'm fucking stubborn. And yeah, I could just I was just swimming, and I had a count in my head, and then I doubled it, and I kept swimming, and then I stopped and I looked in at the shore, and it was far away, and and I was just like, oh Jesus. But you're out there. You're just gonna you have to just swim back in. So a few days ago, sorry, it was my birthday, and I went to Copenhagen with my two of my kids. Had a wonderful day. We went to different shops, and one of the shops that I wanted to visit was an old comic book shop. Fantastic, it's called, which is in the heart of Copenhagen. It's the only comic book shop in Copenhagen that sells single issues. The other shop only has trades. So I went there. I haven't been there for a few years. I know the owner, or the owners. Um, it's a married couple that has the shop. Um, it was just great seeing them, and talking, and yeah. And actually, he talked me into buying a few titles that I wasn't gonna buy, and most of you probably don't know them, but um, if you're into European comics, you know them. This is Lucky Luke. This is a Danish translation, of course. It's a really sweet story. Lucky Luke was originally done by I don't know how to pronounce it in French, but Maurice, um, and he was drawing and writing the stories until he got Goscinny on board. Goscinny is known for Asterix, which is the best, um, probably the best comic book in the world. It's really really clever. It's really funny. It has a lot of. It has a nice view of the world, and it plays a lot of puns on Rome and now, or in the 70s and 80s when it was done really really well. Um, yeah. So Lucky Luke was really really good when Morris and Goscinny did it together. This album is by a German, because Maurice is dead. Goscinny is dead as well, but Maurice, the father of Lucky Luke, died in, I can't remember, 2000 and something, um, 2001 I think, and some other dude is doing it now, but in the same style, and now they're trying to let other people do their interpretations of Lucky Luke. Ralph Koenig is a German guy who did a lot of, I think it was in the 80s, he did a lot of comic books about gay people, especially gay men. And they were very, very funny. Um, I'm not really into that sort of thing, but those were really, really funny. He has a really nice humor, and this is a Brokeback Mountain Lucky Luke story. Not with Lucky Luke. Well, he's in it, but he's not. Um, and it's really, really cute, and it's really, really sweet, and the artwork is I love this in his pajamas. It's just amazing, and it's very very well told. It's very funny, very sweet. Lucky Luke tells a story about he fell in love once. I can't remember what the album was called, but that was like the only time he ever fell in love. And they talk about this in here. And Lucky Luke says, you only do that, you only experience that kind of pain once, which I thought was sweet. No, just yeah, here they are in the tent, Brokeback Mountain style. And they're going to a mountain. It's not called Brokeback Mountain. It's called oh darn, I can't remember what it's called. Boom, 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 boom. No, I can't find it, but it's something like Brokeback. The cows, they look like penises. Well, they don't when they get out in the here's Lucky Luke like with his boots off, just relaxing. Well, it's just a very sweet story. Here's the cows when they're all bitter. I like the drawings. I like the art. I like the story. It was really really sweet. It bothers me that they're doing this in hardcovers. I grew up with them. They were soft covers when I grew up, and I just want things to be like when I grew up, and they're not, and that bothers me. No, but this was really really sweet. I bought another Danish album because I have all of these. They're called, I can't remember what they're called in French, and I certainly cannot pronounce their names. Letushi and Licky. That's the writer and that's the artist. This is my favorite. No, it's my favorite fantasy album. The artwork is just beautiful. The colors, the reproduction. I thought the translation was a little bit. Now I don't speak French, but well, a little bit, but not much. It was just very confusing. There were just things that didn't add up. I don't know if it's because the translation was out of whack or. I remember my friend in the comic book shop telling me something about this story wasn't. They had some problems with it. Wasn't finished. Something like that. It's really funny. It's really cool. Also magic. Really cool. Now the story wasn't very good, but the artwork is just beautiful. And again, this is hardcover. It just pisses me off because all the other ones I have 15 or 16 albums. This is 16, but there's 15 and a half also. I don't know why. And they're all soft covers. Yeah. Don't know why they're doing this, but they are. This is if you haven't read Maurice Lucky Luke, you should definitely try it out. I know it's not about first appearances. It's not about value. It's just about reading something that's really, really well written, really, really well drawn. Like Koenig is more of a funny guy, but it's also like he doesn't have the same. I don't have a Lucky Luke album at hand. He doesn't have the same perspective as Maurice has. He's he's just an excellent artist. Um, I want to dedicate an entire um, episode of this to the French and Belgian artists, because this is yeah. My friend in the comic book shop told me about when I were talking about comic books and the circulation going down. I don't know what the last time I looked was a few years ago, and it was about 100,000 for something that was like Batman, Spider Man. I think was about 100, maybe 200,000. The latest Asterix album was that's worldwide, of course, but it was 50 million. So these are the numbers we're talking about here. This is big money. Um, Asterix is very well known in all of Europe, in all of France, and he's of course he's big in France, but he's big in Europe as well, all over the world. If you don't know him, you should definitely check him out. But I'll do a show about that. Now I bought some new comic books. I haven't bought new comic books in a year, maybe 2 years. Um, and I'm trying to find them, and that's not it. I'll just briefly talk about them. I try out new stuff from time to time. All right, yeah, okay. Now I bought this just because I've never read it. It's a reprint of. It's not a 9.8 of a 121. No, it's $3.99. It's a reprint. It's yeah. It's a bit much with the paper, but I'm really looking forward to reading this story arc, and of course they did 122 as well. And I never read this, so I'm in for a treat. Um, Now, I like Amazing Spider-Man. Um, I like the title. It's usually good. I know a lot of people hated Dan Slott's run and the whole thing about making Peter Parker rich and a corporate guy, and he finally finished um, university. I didn't like that. I I understand why he did it. I just didn't think it panned out very well. But I think Dan Slott was or is a very, very talented writer. Anyway, so I was talking to my friend while I was picking out these issues, so I wasn't really paying attention, um, and that bites you in the ass afterwards. Anyway, I grabbed this one, Amazing Spider-Man 18. I don't know, it's what volume 6 or something stupid like that. It's 912. Um, yeah. Now McGinnis is so accomplished artist. John Romita Jr. was doing or is doing the cover. I really enjoy John Romita Jr. and his artwork. Um, but Wells as a writer, it's not for me, And I don't judge. I've never read anything that I liked by that guy, and I read too much. No, to me this was sadly utter crap. Sadly. Now I bought something that was even worse. Again, I wasn't. I was just looking at the titles, and I liked Betsy Braddock. I remember her from the New Mutants Annual. I really like her. She's a really cool character. Well, she was, and then she died, and she became Psylocke, and I never liked that because I liked Betsy Braddock, and she was flirting with Doc back then. New Mutants. I don't mind her being a Captain Britain. That I think that was a cool idea. That's why I bought it. I did not. I did not pay attention to who was writing it. And oh boy, I don't care that she's gay. You know, is it Rachel Scott Summers' daughter from the future, the Phoenix in Excalibur? I really like that character as well. This was terrible. This is written by Teeny or Tiny Howard, I think the person is called. I'm not sure what the person wants to be. Male or female, maybe neither. This is crazy bad writing. This is some of the worst I've ever read in comic book form. It's just fucking terrible. It's trope after trope. It's I don't care. Like Betsy Braddock is what? She's what? 13 years old here? That's the one with the purple hair. I like trying out new things. Because sometimes you get positively sometimes you get oh, here it is. Yeah. Teeny or Tiny Howard. I read something else by that person. That was it a Miss Marvel back in the day? Or was it the other horrible title? The fucking the thing with the girl, Hispanic girl who was gay, and it was all about how marvelous it was. You see, I don't care about people being gay. I don't give a shit who you fuck. I don't care who you love. That's your business. It's not mine. I don't think you're better. I don't think you're worse. You're a human being. You know, you can be an asshole. You can be a really nice person. I know people who are gay and they're nice because I know them, you know, because I wouldn't know someone who's not nice. But when you start preaching, that's when you lose me. I don't care if it's religion or if it's gender, politics. I don't care if you preach, you lose me. And this is a really nice piece of art, the Loki. I'm not gonna buy it. I have no interest in the character, but it was just a nice piece of art. Anyway, sadly, this is crap. I don't know how Betsy Braddock came back, and I don't care. The character sucks. On to the next one. Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead. Beautiful cover. Gary Frank, I think it is. It's Hitler panicking or turning into a zombie or whatever it is he's doing. It's just, I got these hands. It's really nice. Really nice cover. And I liked, I didn't really like Sergeant Rock, but I liked Joe's covers. Joe Kubert's covers. I don't remember anything anymore. They were telling a much better story than the stories inside. So I was giving this a try, and I actually noticed that it was Bruce Campbell who was writing the stories. And I thought, should be fun. It wasn't. Now the artwork is pretty cool. The story is not. The story is not. Let's see if I can find a zombie here. The story is not bad, but it's not very good either. I would say, in a scale from 1 to 10, this is a 1. This is a 3. This is a 4. So, do I just hate all the new books? No, because I bought something that I really, really like. I really enjoyed reading this, and I actually told them to make me a subscription for this title. Why did I buy this? I don't know. Sometimes I pick out things. I was talking to the guy, and I don't know anyone connected to this title. I guess in the back of my mind, I thought the character was sort of interesting. So I was like, yeah, let's give it a try. And it was the first issue. And it's not that I buy all the first issues, because I don't give a crap anymore, They're restarting Spider-Man all the time. It's just annoying. But I could follow the story, So, and I thought, you start up, you give me a story. So I bought Hellcat #1. And this is very well written. It's an excellent story. And I know it's not, but it's about her. It's just even this. It's about good and bad, good and evil. I play with that a lot right now in my writing. I find it fascinating that you can be a good person and a bad person at the same time. Look at this opening. A dad leaving his family, his little girl. That's how you open a fucking story. That's how you do it. I don't know much about the character, but I was intrigued. She might have killed her boyfriend. Of course, it would be amazing if she did. But she's not. No, they're not going down that route. Plus, it feels a bit. It's Patsy Walker. Now, Patsy Walker. Is it me, or is there an Archie title or something like that with Patsy Walker? I have to Google it. It just rang a bell. We have Sleepwalker in here. And he's in love with her. And look, that's how you do it as an artist. Well, what's the artist called? It's Alex Lintz. The writer is Christopher Cantwell. He was. I read that he was doing Iron Man before this. I actually want to pick those up because I think he's a really, really good writer. Now the artwork, the artist, Alex Lintz, really good artist. The way he builds up his panels, like this, right? He's telling her there's something wrong. What's wrong? I'm in love with you. Boom! A whole page. He's sitting there in his slippers in a psychiatric ward. That's how you use Sleepwalker. Now, I'd love for Brett Blevins to do a B cover for this. There was actually some good covers for this. I'm gonna try to pick them up, but it's a little bit hard here because I think my comic shop only get the A covers. So I'll talk to them. But I want every issue of this. I'll tell you, if you like a good story, if you like good art, you should definitely give this a try. Hellcat #1. It's a hell of a ride. I want to reread it. That's how good it was. I don't do that, but it was very good. Now, I'll just put it over here. I've been reading through some of my old Spectacular Spider-Man, and I'm just going to go through it really, really fast. This one is with Razorback, and there's a villain, Hate Monger. Yeah, he's a cool villain. Now, this is not the first appearance of anybody. It's a very fine issue. It's he has a Pigmobile or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It's a bit silly. It's what's his name? Bill Mantlo is writing it. This one as well. Oh, there you go. Nice cover with the Hate Monger. I like him. He's like an evil Nazi Ku Klux Klan sort of. He's a really good villain. The story is they're okay. They're like 6. This is for me. This was a 9 or a 10. It's really well told. It wasn't Dark Knight, it wasn't 10. So if but then there's this one where Spider-Man is fighting not the lizard, but why isn't he on the cover? Anyway. Oh yeah, and Spider-Man, Bill Mantlo is writing this one as well. Spider-Man is having some sort of a flirt with our teaching the students who teach. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, he has some sort of relationship with her, and Mantlo is slowly building that up. But then Mantlo left the title. I can't remember when he left the title. This is Swarm. Not his first title either. Maybe the second appearance or third. If you're into that sort of thing. Cool cover as well, right? I've shown the covers before. This is the second part of the story. It's not really a good story, but what I like about them is that they use the fact that Peter is a biochemist or a chemist. But they're using biochemistry actually, and the writer has done some work. Now, this one is Roger Stern. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to take it out. Oh, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I think it's Roger Stern, right? Yeah. So he took over for Mantlo, and he left the whole plot with the teacher assistant. Yeah. This is a cool cover. It's a sweet story about Giant Man, whom Spider-Man calls Black Giant Man, because he's black. So, and he was like, "Listen, dude, I was Black Goliath, and now I'm just Giant Man." He has a disease and he's dying, and I just thought that character was really interesting. So I have to read up on what happened to him because I can't remember. But he's a cool character. He's a professor as well, and he's guest teaching at the university when Meteor Man, of course, the guy was digging for a meteor and gas came out, and maybe this is his second appearance. I can't remember. It's the first appearance of Meteor Man as Giant Meteor Man. So there you go. And he dies in this issue as well. Spoiler, but sorry, yeah. And it's sort of like, he's sort of shoots up into the sky and explode, and Giant Man and Spider-Man is just like, they're standing there, and then they go each their way. So, Meteor Man. I like the writing. Roger Stern is it's just he's a very he's not like a really cool writer who did a lot of new stuff, but he was very, very good when he was working. Very like Mandlo. I'd say he was a little bit better than Mandlo, but Mandlo had good days and bad days. This is a absolutely this. I think this is the first appearance of Belladonna. So there you go. She might appear in a Spider-Man movie. I don't think she will, but it's Mike Seck. That's right. Look at that. It looks nothing like Mike Seck. Who is inking him? Steve Mitchell? Sorry, I need my glasses. Yeah. I don't have any Mike Seck moment. I love all these. Look at this. This is what you get when you buy the old books, right? And you read them. It's like you travel back in time. Oh yeah, there's this fashion designer, and he's stealing the. I think they left this plot and just moved on because it wasn't very good. He doesn't end up catching her, so Belladonna gets away. Oh, there's an O.J. Simpson doing an ad for Boots. Yeah. Who's killing the great crime lords in New York? It's just these copies are really nice. I think this is a near mint minus, but it's still really, really nice. So that's what I read. Yeah, it was really nice to visit the comic shop again, and they don't have a lot of back issues. They have some, mostly from the 90s and from titles nobody wants. Because, we're few guys here in Denmark who collect comic books, and we just bought up the inventory because they had a lot of good stuff from the 70s and up. It's the oldest comic shop in Europe. Fantastic. Yeah. And it still looks like it did when I came there the first time. I was a teenager. I'll do that when I was reading Uncanny X-Men, but in Danish called Project X. Project X. And that's what Uncanny X-Men was called in Denmark. And I was reading those. 121 was my first one. And, I was buying Spider-Man. I wasn't buying Incredible Hulk. My best friend back then was. But I was buying Spider-Man and Superman. That's what we had in Danish. Spider-Man, Superman, and Incredible Hulk. And sometimes we'll get these square-bound, thick, black and white reprints of old comics. I had all of those. I bought them all. I bought Lone Wolf and Cop. That was in Danish as well. A Terry Force. I'll do a show about that title. That's amazing. Yeah. I was reading all the Danish titles. I was, going from drugstore to drugstore, corner shop to corner shop, wasn't any comic book shops. I grew up in a small town. Um, but down at the station, there was a little shop and they had comic books, and there was a guy in there, a young guy, and there was a drugstore or like a kiosk at the mall. They had comics as well. So I just bought everything, and I just read. I read Kirby's Fantastic Four and Captain America. I wasn't too keen on Fantastic Four, to be quite honest. I'm still not. It's not my favorite title. The Hulk, no. Some runs are good, but I'm not really into it. But then I changed schools, and I was talking to a guy in my class, and he was telling me about this shop in Copenhagen that had American comic books, and I was like, "You gotta take me, dude. You gotta take me." And I remember it was a December. It was cold. It was dark. After school, we took the train. I wasn't in Copenhagen very much at that time. I was probably 14 years old. I've been reading comic books for 3 years or something like that. 4 years. And took the train in, got off the station, Vistaport, in Copenhagen, and we walked. And I'd only been like at the touristy spots in Copenhagen. So it was like small dark alleys, and it was raining and snowing at the same time. And we came down this narrow street, and at the end of the street, in the basement, there was a stairway down, and outside was like these huge wooden, what do you call them? Like big round paintings of superheroes. And I remember going down the steps, coming into the shop, the smell of nerds. It was a thing. It just hit you. And all the comic books. There was like, you came down there, and there was like a rack of books. And on one side, it was Marvel. The whole side. And on the other side, it was DC. Half the side. And then it was independents. There weren't that many independents back then. This is 86, 87. Wasn't many independents in the shop in Denmark anyway. But I remember First was there. I want to collect the whole First run, because First Publishing did some really, really cool books. Grimjack. Can't remember any of them right now. Anyway, and at the end of the aisle, there was more adult books. The first books I bought was because I just read Mandlow's and Leonardi's Cloak and Dagger miniseries in Danish. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Like, apart from the X-Men, of course. I bought Uncanny X-Men 2, 14, 15, and 16. And I bought Cloak and Dagger 10 and 11 and Strange Tales 1. Those were the first 6 books that I bought. And I remember there's a John Moorland song. I can't remember what the song is called. But the line goes something like, maybe I don't have it in me, maybe it doesn't have me in it. But if I don't fly, that's fine. Just let me find a place where I fit. And I came down to that shop, standing in there, and I felt like this is home. This is where I fit. And I'm still a customer, you know. Haven't been there for 2 years, but I'm still a customer. It's still amazing, you know. When I got in there on my birthday the other day, I sort of had that same feeling, you know. It was like, this is good. It's like, you know, you're a junkie, you get a fix. Look at all the books. And I had my kids with me, you know, my son and my daughter, and they were really cool. They just went down in the book department. They have like a department for sci-fi and fantasy books. They have a lot of cool books. And they just sat down there and talked, and I just walked around and I talked to the owners, and I was browsing, and it was heaven. Um, yeah, I remember going home with those 6 comic books, and the next day I was going to my grandparents, and I was like an hour away in the train, so I brought them on the train, and I read them, and I didn't like the Uncanny X-Men because I was used to Chris Claremont. I had like Chris Claremont and John Byrne's run was printed in Danish, like the whole run, I think more or less, and that was my X-Men. And then suddenly it was 214. No, maybe it was 14, 15, 16. It's Barry Windsor Smith, Rick Leonardi, and Art Adams, I think. And it wasn't the X Men that I knew. Storm was being chased by 3 guys I didn't know who was, and then Longshot, I didn't know who Longshot was. Rogue, I didn't know who Rogue. Yeah, I knew Rogue actually. They did Avengers Annual number 9 in Danish as well. Yeah, and Rogue, Longshot, Dazzler, and Psylocke. What a team, right? Art Adams doing the cover. I mean, I think actually that's 218. So maybe it was 16, 17, 18 I bought. I can't remember. I just remember reading them and not liking it because it wasn't what I was used to. And I think I actually sold them um, the next time I went in there because I was so annoyed that it wasn't the good X Men. I'm I'm like that. I'm still like that. You know, it's just instant. Um, but I bought all the cloaks and daggers, and then I started buying New Mutants, X Factor, Uncanny X Men, uh, Amazing Spider Man, bought some Avengers, and they had a back room where they just had stacks and stacks of books, used books. And I had a friend who was collecting comics as well, and every Friday we went to the shop, and we spent like an hour in the back room, and I don't think we ever got through it because there was just stacks and stacks of books. Um, and you had to take them out, you know, and you had to like go through them, and nobody cared about Near Mint or nobody cared. We just read the books. People just read the books, and it's still like that. You know, you go down there and you buy something new. Um, this is off the rack, and it has this because people's been taking it up and looking at it. You know, and it's on. It's not too bad on this one, but this paper quality is a little bit better. This one is pretty bad as well. No, doesn't matter. You read the books, you enjoy the books. That's what, for me, That what that's what comic books about. You know, this whole thing about. I've been trying to get into the collecting. Um, but that's not where my joy is. My joy is reading them. My joy is enjoying the stories, consuming them. And I think that's why I really like these, because you just read them. You just read them and you just enjoy them, and it's a story and it's funny, or it's good, or it's sad, or it's something. You know, that's what this one is. It's something. I'm intrigued reading this book. I'm really intrigued. I want to know more. I cannot wait to read issue number 2, and I'm not going back to Copenhagen until August. I almost want to go in there, but to me, it's like 2 hours. Like it's an hour in a train, but I have to go to the train station, and then from the train station to the shop, and it's 2 hours getting there and 2 hours back. It's 4 hours. It's half a day going there. So I just wrote them and asked them to put number 2 till 5. I think 5 is just out in my drawer. And when I go back there, I'll try something new, because I like trying new stuff. I just have to I have to mind the writers, like Teeny or Tiny Howard. That's, for me, that's a no-go. It's just, I've been burned too many times. Seb Wells, definitely a no-go. It's not a good writer to me. I like Dan Slott, actually. Yeah, as I said, I didn't enjoy the Spider-Man, but I understand why he did it. He had to do something new. I really like his run where Dr. Octopus becomes Spider-Man. That, to me, is the best Spider-Man story since the 90s. Maybe the 80s. David Michelini writing Spider-Man, that was really good. But after that, Todd McFarlane took over. I like Todd McFarlane's art. I think he's a really cool character, man. I dig the dude. I think he's really, really, really. I think what he's done in his life is amazing. He's a really good businessman. He makes great toys. I bought the first McFarlane line when it came out. It was actually in the shop as well. I bought the Crow. I bought some dude on a horse. I bought a few other. I can't remember. It was just that I was used to the Star Wars figures from the 80s. This was a new experience, This was the next level. I'm not really that much into action figures anymore. I have a few. I have Lobo here because this is a really cool figure. Plus, he's smoking a cigar. Come on, man. Gotta have Lobo smoking a cigar. You have to lie down, Lobo. I just have a few, but I'm selling most of my figures because I just want a few. I just want 2 or 3, and then I'm good. But McFarlane is doing great figures, and he's a cool businessman. Spawn is still out there. I've never been a fan of Spawn. Doesn't mean that I think it's a bad title. I think what he did in the beginning, where he had guest writers and was there artists as well. Or was he doing the art? I can't remember. But that was amazing. And he did some really, really cool things with the character. He did some cool things for the industry. He did some cool things for other creators. Um, yeah, he's not a very good writer. That's just my opinion. Maybe you think that teeny or tiny Howard is sent from God, and we can have the discussion, and I can argue what I can. But in the end, it's what moves you, what touches you, what intrigues you. Yeah. Oh, there's my bisons. I hadn't seen them for a few hours. I was getting a little worried. But there they are. So that's good. Anyway, really, really nice doing this. I've been having a blast. Yeah, just talking about comic books. Anyway, back to if you haven't read it, and if you can swing the money, check out Hellcat. I thought it was a great first issue. Now, can they keep it up? I think the artwork is excellent. It's not mind blowing. Like, it's not like Art Adams, Rick Leonardi, Brett Blevins. It's a little bit like, it's not distinguished, but the way that I want to say Alex, could be a woman, the way this person builds up the panels, it's really good storytelling. Yeah, I like that. I think this is really cool. If you can swing it, do it. $4. It's the price. It's the price. It's cheaper than a cup of coffee, and it's in Denmark anyway. And it's this is worth it. So that's all I had to say today. I there are my bisons. I just let them out in a different enclosure today. I've been waiting for the grass to grow, but it's nowhere. I don't know. It's like we got so much heat in May that it's just stopped growing. There was no water and just heat. But now there's a lot of water and there's sun, but it's like the grass is like, no, fuck you. I'm not doing it. You had your chance this year, maybe next year. So they just I closed it for 2 weeks to try to see if the grass would grow, but it's not really. There's a little bit, of course. So they're out there enjoying themselves. They're really happy. They love that enclosure. Anyway, sorry about that, man. Have a really splendid evening, and then take care. Cheers, bye.